Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be sharing my money goals for 2022 and my game plan for achieving these goals. My first money goal for 2022 is number 1, get a pay raise. And I'm happy to announce that I've already achieved this goal. I'll be earning $3,500 a month starting 2022. I mentioned in my previous video that my salary for the past 2 years has stagnated at $3,250. Even though I'm a full-time employee at a company, I'm technically on contract and my contract is renewed on a yearly basis. So earlier in 2021 when my contract was renewed, I couldn't negotiate my salary and so my pay only increased by $50, and that's also because the temp agency negotiated for some kind of pay raise on my behalf. So this year, I finally gathered the courage to speak to my supervisor about getting a pay raise, and I really advocated for myself and I explained why I thought I deserved the pay raise. I brought in competitive market rates. I also brought in my work accomplishments for the past year. It wasn't an easy conversation, but I'm glad that I had it. If I can only tell you one thing I learned from this experience is that you really have to advocate for yourself. In my case, I thought that the worst case scenario was that I continue working at my current salary, which I also explained in my previous video that it was comfortable enough for me, so there was no immediate risk or loss in the short term with not getting a pay raise. And I have a good enough rapport with my boss to know that the conversation wouldn't change our professional working relationship. I'm really thankful to my friends who pushed me and encouraged me to speak to my boss about it, because I'm not sure if I would have otherwise. And it's so validating to get that raise after 2 years of putting in the work. Financially, I think 2022 is off to a good start. My next few goals are quite straightforward, so I'll go through them quickly. My second goal is to save $17,000 in emergency funds. Currently, I have $15.5K set aside for emergencies, like an unexpected medical bill, sudden unemployment, or accidents. $15K is just enough for 6 months worth of expenses for me, which is why I'm no longer saving as aggressively as last year to build up my pot of emergency funds. However, I don't want to stop contributing entirely, so my goal is just to get that number to $17K by the end of the year. I'm on track to doing that if I put aside $200 a month, adding up to $2.4K by the end of next year, and therefore reaching my goal. My third goal is to save $7K in retirement funds. This is the goal I'm choosing to save more aggressively for this year. I'm moving away from building my pot of emergency funds to building my pot of retirement funds. Last year, I saved up $1,400, and this year my goal is to reach $7,000. I'll be on track to reaching that goal if I put aside $470 a month, adding up to $5,640 by the end of the year. I'm quite amazed myself at how quickly the number will grow by the end of the year, just by putting aside slightly under $500 a month. $7,000 is a 500% increase from my current $1,400. This is by far my most ambitious goal numerically, and also one of the most difficult because retirement funds are never immediately gratifying, right? I'm almost 4 decades away from being able to spend this money. I just have to remind myself that it's important that I do this because 60-year-old Lisa will be very grateful that 25-year-old Lisa did this. My fourth goal is to save up $3,000 for LASIK. This is part of a bigger goal to eventually get LASIK surgery sometime in 2023 or 2024. I'm budgeting about $4 to $5K for it, so I know I probably won't be able to get LASIK this year, but I'm committing to saving up for it. I have $600 so far from saving about $70 to $100 every month in 2021, and I'm increasing my monthly savings to $200 a month next year, adding up to $2,400 saved in 2022. Initially, I was going to keep saving $100 a month, which meant that I'll only reach my goal by the end of 2025, but I decided that I want to enjoy perfect vision for as long as I can, so I want to commit to saving for it. By increasing my monthly savings to $200, I'll be on track to reaching my goal by the end of 2023, which is 2 years earlier than planned. My fifth goal is to save $4,000 in my Stashaway portfolio. If you remember from my previous video, this is one of my savings goals, despite the money being put in an investment portfolio. That's because I'm saving this money for a slightly longer term and I don't need immediate access to it right now. Putting it in a lower risk portfolio will hopefully let the money grow faster than just putting it in a bank account with lower interest rates. Of course, any investment involves a degree of risk, so fingers crossed that the economy won't tank 5 to 7 years from now when I need to withdraw the money. This is money that I'm putting aside with my partner for any mid to long-term goals that we have together. We both have our own individual investment accounts that we're putting money in, so this is just my half of the pot. Currently, I have $1,400 saved from last year. I'll be on track to reaching my goal of $4K if I put aside $220 a month, adding up to $2,640 by the end of the year. That's about it for saving specific goals. My next two goals are slightly less straightforward and will involve more work than just a monthly bank transfer. Goal number 6 is to find a new job that pays more than $3,500 by the end of 2022. I know I'm very blessed to have my current position, but I also know that it's not a place I should be at forever. I have other career goals that I want to strive for, and I want more opportunities for personal growth and development. While this is not a sure thing and things might change in the next few months, this is my goal for now. I'll give my all for my current job that I have, but I'll keep my feelers out for any new opportunities. I might do a check-in in a few months to update on the progress of my goals, and I'll also give an update on my stance then. Finally, my most ambitious goal of them all. I want to figure out and build a secondary income stream. I've been thinking about it for a while now, but I haven't really sat down to think deeply about how I will go about doing this. 2021 has been quite a busy year with moving and settling into my new home, so I kept putting it off. I suppose a new year is as good a time as any for starting new life projects. So far I've been thinking about possibly growing my channel. It'll be quite nice to be able to make these videos and also earn some side income from it. I was also thinking about convincing my mom to start a small chili business with me, or maybe I can offer some freelance services, but I'm not really sure yet about what I can do well enough that I can charge people for. Of the 3 ideas, I guess YouTube is the most fun idea so far, but we'll see. Alright, I'll talk briefly about how my money goals will fit into my budget. So if you remember in my last video, I talked about how I follow the 50-30-20 rule for my budgeting. Here is an overview of how my monthly savings will fit into my budget and the percentage allocation it will take up. I'm really pleased because I'm within the green range of plus minus 5% to meeting my 50-30-20 salary allocation goals. This is the first time this has happened since I moved and had to start paying for things like utilities and mortgage, and also because I had to put aside a greater percentage of my money to build up my family's emergency fund, so I couldn't dedicate extra money to things like retirement fund and my other short-term goals. If you want to see a more in-depth explanation of how I use the 50-30-20 rule, I'll link that video in the description and also in the end cards for this video. Alright, those are my 7 money goals for 2022. Actually 6 goals now that I've accomplished the first one. Now I'll talk a bit more about my main strategy for saving all that money, and the very unexciting answer is I'm just going to spend less money. Besides getting a new job or having side income, that's just the most straightforward way. I don't have any tricks or shortcuts. So I'll be doing something called a low buy year. You may heard of the no buy year, which as the name suggests is a year-long project where you don't buy anything that is not an absolute essential. So while buying food and groceries is allowed, you may, for example, ban yourself from buying any new home decor or new clothes. The degree of restriction and the rules set in place will vary from person to person. For instance, if you know you're a serial clothes buyer and you know it's something you need to cut back on, you could just ban yourself from buying new clothes during your no buy year. I'll explain the rules for my personal low buy year in another video, so you can go ahead and check that one out if you're interested. I'll link the description below and in the end cards. Thank you for watching this far. Some final thoughts before I end the video. As you might have noticed from goals 2 to 5, I've already planned my way to achieving those goals. I've worked out the numbers into my monthly budget for 2022, and I know that I can make all those monthly savings consistently throughout the entire year while still being able to maintain my expenses. I'm not really sacrificing my current standard of living unless you consider not having many new things a great blow to your quality of life. So really, that's my best advice for any kind of resolution you want to make when it comes to money. Set concrete and achievable goals for yourself. It's not cheating because I don't have 7k in retirement savings yet. I don't have 3k put aside for LASIK yet. The effort still has to be made to make those numbers real by the end of the year. And if I continue at my current savings rate, I will definitely achieve my goals. If I had set my goals any higher than I can manage, it will more likely demoralize me when I don't end up achieving it. So knowing what I will have at the end of the year and visualizing that as a certainty will be more motivation for me on a month-to-month basis. I won't want to jeopardize the certainty of my goal by giving myself excuses and not putting that money aside, right? At the same time, allow yourself to change and be flexible, but only if you know it will benefit you in the long term. Don't cheat out on your goals just because you want to fulfill a short-term desire. Being hard on yourself now can mean being kind to yourself in the future. Okay, that's all the life advice I have to give today. I hope this helped you in some way and gives you inspiration to start thinking about your money goals for 2022. I'd love to have a conversation with you about your goals if you'd like to share them in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing and sharing it with a friend. I'll see you in my next video.